Does sleep deprivation cause mental mistakes? Well, I'm coming from you right now from being a little sleep deprived. This week, I've been out of my regular routine. I haven't been able to get as much sleep. And so for me, I like to wake up super early. So if I don't go to bed early, I'm still going to wake up around the same time, and that's going to throw off my whole rhythm. Now, we'll see how many mental mistakes I make in this video. I've got some notes here to help me out with that. But what I wanted to talk about is how that pulls, at least for me, it starts to pull me away from my focus, because I'm starting to think about, oh man, it would be nice to lay down. Oh man, I just want to rest. Oh man, I don't want to talk to this person. Oh man, like last night I was like so pissed off because there was all this traffic. Now it was insane traffic and it's never like that, but it affected me more and I wasn't able to focus on how to relieve that stress. I can pray, I can meditate, I can, call someone, I can do different things to let that time pass because I can't control what the traffic does. So my mental was stuck because I was more sleep deprived. Now, what I want to talk about is the rhythms of your sleep and the rhythms of your everyday activity. The body and the mind, they get into this rhythm. And so they get into this routine. And like for me, I wake up now before my alarm because my body, and you might notice this yourself, your body gets used to waking up at the same time. And so it just knows, okay, this is what time we wake up. So it's kind of like a recording device. You do something over and over again, it records that, and then it repeats it, plays it back to you. So if that then gets interrupted because you go to bed later than you normally would, or you get woken up earlier, or whatever, something happens that screws up that routine, your recovery, all right, the normal routine of the recovery phase of sleep, which you go through all these different phases of sleep, but the main thing is the whole time you're recharging your batteries because your body needs time to rest and recover. We know this. Well, if that's thrown off, then your mental faculties, your physical faculties, they're not going to be able to have as much output in whatever activity that you're doing. Right now, I'm thinking about that because I'm like, man, what am I going to say? Like I'm a little flustered, more flustered than I normally would be because I just don't feel as good because I know I didn't get that much sleep this whole week and it's thrown me off and I woke up and I was groggy. And so again, it doesn't let your body do what it normally naturally does. And if you want to be at your peak, if you want to be at your optimum self, you got to be, as close to your nature as possible. So, when you get out of that routine, right, the body starts to rebel and you start to be thinking about the bed. Maybe even just thinking about, hey, I want to sit down and lay down. But that rhythm is so important. And if you can get yourself in that rhythm of sleeping at a certain time, waking at a certain time, your body likes that. We're used to the rhythm of the sun and the moon, or the sun's rising and the sun setting. Now, because we have technology, I've got this light shining in my face, we can put lights on 24/7. People can go to work night shifts where they do the exact opposite. We know through studies that those people die on average well earlier than people that work normal day shifts, taking all things into consideration just because we're off. So the one thing that I would say if you get out of your rhythm is don't be afraid to take time to nap. Even just putting like an eye mask on and laying down, even if you don't fall asleep, I found that helps me reset. The light is a huge thing that triggers in our brain to wake up. That's why they talk about with these healthy rhythms, they say wake up in the morning and try to get sunlight in as quickly as you can. Right? When you go to bed, your bedtime routine, your sleep routine doesn't start when you fall asleep. Your bedtime routine, your sleep routine starts well before that. You want to start putting your lights lower than your eyes. You don't want to have these ceiling lights on. You want to have things lower than your eyes. You want to start putting on, if you have blue blocker glasses, there's settings that you can put on your computer. There's an app called Flux that you can change the level of blue light that comes out of your screen. Blue light is the one that wakes us up. And so we can lower that down so that you're not as stimulated from your phone or and there's settings on like an iPhone, there's just regular settings that you can do, sleep mode, where it starts to again lower that blue light. Well, that will allow you to be in a much more calm state and you'll fall asleep quicker. And it's like the sun setting, there's less of that light coming in, And you're then ready to then go into that recovery and go into fall asleep. So again, your rhythms are set. If you get out of your rhythm, see if you can't just lay down. See if you can't just put, something on your eyes to block the light coming in. Even I've noticed where I lay down, I'm super tired. I lay down, I might fall asleep I might be in the bed for 30 minutes, but I only fall asleep for 5 minutes or something like that. And I feel much better when I wake up. So getting a little bit of rest can help you, but the main idea is if we want to keep those rhythms going. That's what your body wants, and it tells you that because it replays everything back to you. And for me, I need to be regimented. If that gets thrown off, everything's thrown off. I get flustered easily, right? Like right now, I have no idea what I'm saying. Like I'm all over the place. I usually am all over the place, but extra so today. And I notice that when I'm driving in my car. I notice that with my clients. I'm more irritable. I get like people get hangry. They get angry when they're hungry. I get irritable and angry when I don't get enough sleep. And so having that awareness of that can have you set up your life to where you make sure that you get that rhythm. You make sure you say, hey, no, and when those moments do come, you notice that and you take, instead of adding more to your plate, oh, I've got to do this weekend. I'm going to take some time and I'm just going to have more rest. I'm just going to lay in bed and I'm going to take that couple 2 hours, 3 hour nap versus just laying down for the 30 minutes and getting a little reset. I'm going to actually try to recharge from the couple hours of sleep that I missed. So it leads into those mental mistakes because your body's just off. It doesn't have the same amount of recovery, which we know that your body needs to be at its best self. But then also just like you start looking at things like, man, when can I get to sleep? When can I lay down? When can I just sit down? When can I take a breath? So having a good rhythm will prevent that. But if it does come into place, don't be afraid to take a little power nap. Don't be afraid to just sit in quiet and silence. I made a video on meditation. Meditation is one of those things that can dramatically help you recharge your batteries when you're not able to sleep. It's a focusing thing. You have to focus to do it. But even just one little moment of that separation from yourself allows you to realize that, hey, I am not this physical body. And it kind of gives this perspective and it gets this recharge. At least for me, that's what I've noticed. It really sets me in a position where I go, hey, this physical body might be waning, but there's something bigger than that. And if I can focus on that, even when this physical body is not at its optimal, I can still direct it. And I can coast it and land the plane until I can get that sleep. At the end of the day, if I stay up for 7 days straight, I'm going to be a crazy person. But I can manage manage these mental mistakes with some of these strategies that we have. But the main idea behind it is you got to get those rhythms in. And it's probably better for you in general just to be organized and to be, have that rhythm. But I think that's how our genetics are. There's so many different clocks in our body. Time restricted eating. People do intermittent fasting. Well, the reason why this is helpful is your body has a clock for when you eat, and that dictates how well your body absorbs nutrients in your body. How interesting is that? When you start eating the day, and as that goes on longer, so let's just say I start eating at 8 a.m., that starts one clock. When I wake up, there's another clock. But when I start eating, there's another clock, and I have only so much amount of time that I optimize my digestion. So just like when you wake up, your body's like, hey, we need to get to sleep at a certain time. Let's start winding down. If we don't give it that, we get out of rhythm, and we're all out of rhythm. Let me say, all right, because of these lights and because of technology and because of Netflix and all these things that we do. We stay up late doing that stuff. If we can get out of that, or if we can get more back to nature, your body becomes much more happy. When we eat, instead of eating all day long and eating all night long, we eat it within a reasonable window. What they found is the best time restricted eating is like 11 hours or less. So normally we're eating from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. or even later. 14 hours is what they found on average is most people, they eat for 14 hours. We want to try to get that below 12 hours, 11 hours. Some people like 8-16 where they eat for 8 hours and they fast for 16. So eating within a more restricted window is better for your rhythms as well. This all goes back to, again, nature. You have rhythms with your nature. If you can tap into that, whether it's by waking at the same time, sleeping at the same time, eating within the same range of time, that all is going to help you stay at your best and at your mental best and at your physical best. That's it for today. That's all I got. I'm going to see if I can get a nap.